Hello everyone, my name is Kira and today I will be covering the new Abyss cycle in 5.1 with themes, strategies, and budget options. But before we actually begin, I would like to warn you that this is the highest level of difficulty in all of Genshin Impact. There is no shame in not being able to clear, and quite frankly, the rewards are not really worth your effort anyway. They actually became less ever since they added the Imaginarium feature. So prioritize yourself, build up your account slowly to floor 12 and then you will be able to clear. Now let's get on to the video. The enemy lineup is actually quite difficult this cycle, with top side having consecrated beasts, knowing for being fairly tanky and moving around a lot. The bottom side brings back Tolpa at max level, meaning it's very tanky and it has hydro immunity. And Drake forces you to use a bow character, however fear not, as I will guide you to clear this with complete ease. For my teams, I will be running Alhaitham Hyperbloom for top side with Furina. This team is very premium, but I will be showing alternatives to each unit on screen. Pause to see all of them. This team is good because it does enough damage to brute force the Dendro resistance on the Dendro beast, but if you can't do that, you can use other teams or try other ways. I will discuss that more later on though. For bottom side, I decided to run an overload team with Jelonin, Fischl, Shangling, and Bennett. I will talk more in depth about why I chose this team specifically later on, but it should have enough DPS to brute force the Drake and the field generator, and it's too damn good against the Tulpa. I will explain why. I will only be showing Jelonin alternatives on screen because the rest are already budget friendly units. Now let's move on to the actual guide. Chamber 1 first side start off strong with Hydro Consecrated Beast that spawns in the first wave, and the second wave you have two lava avatars. They spawn on opposite sides of the map, so you should edge bait the beast. Keep in mind that you have to make it face the edge, not you, and then it'll just go on its own from how much it moves. Make sure to not run Mono Hydro for this chamber because this thing has a Hydro resistance. Also, it does quite a bit of damage, so it might be worth paying attention and dodging unless you're using Zhongli. Second wave gives you two lava avatars, and those are fairly easy. Just attack them and line up your DPS attacks to hit both of them if they're not a purely single target DPS. They shouldn't cause any trouble damage or survival wise. Bottom side starts off with two Tipilisaurus because Hoyo now wants to do two waves on each boss chamber. But those are fairly squishy, so just kill them with half a rotation and then restart as soon as the boss spawns. Thankfully, the field generator does not move around a lot. Most advice I can give you is that to dodge its AoE attacks, and that's really it, because those do a lot of damage. Otherwise, it's an easy target. Chamber 2 starts off with a Dendro Consecrated Beast this time. Same as the other one, it will go all over the place, so you might not even need to edge bait it. Make sure to dodge its attacks and account for its movement by making it face the edge so it can go there on its own, just like I told you before. Second wave has this robot from Natlan, the Automaton, and it's surprisingly tough to deal with. Not only does it have really high HP for what it is, it can do enough damage to kill you if you're not careful enough. Thankfully, it doesn't move around almost at all, so the strategy is simple. Set up your attacks, keep hitting it while focusing on dodging. It's a deadly attacks. On Chamber 2, second side, we got Aeon Blight Drake again. This boss is fairly squishy by today's standards, with its only issue being that you need to shoot it down with a bow, like shown on screen, hopefully, please. You can theoretically brute force it, but you're probably watching this video because you can't. My advice is that just bring Fischl. Just bring Fischl. It's easy as that. She makes him very easy, like very, very easy. Your strategy is to just shoot it down with a bow, whether it's Fischl or anyone else. Elon is also good. But you have to account for Tulpa, by the way, so yeah. A little trick that you can do if you're not using a bow is that Yaimiko's turrets with enough placement, or like proper placement, and Furina's pets with good RNG can actually shoot it down. But that's usually like very luck based, so I wouldn't recommend trying it out. It's just a thing you can do if you happen to use both of them. Moving on to the final and scariest chamber, Chamber 3. Top side starts off with another type of lava avatars. I'm not sure what the main difference is between them other than looks. I just know that they move around a lot and they're slightly tankier. So it's best to prioritize grouping both of them and hitting them at the same time. You can also bait them to the spot of the next wave, which is around the starting point. I heavily recommend you try that if you can. Second wave is a single Eremite with his crocodile. Usually Eremites are in groups, but I'm glad that they aren't this time, because the crocodile moves around a whole lot, baby. So if you can't do enough DPS to brute force him, I heavily recommend prioritizing the crocodile first. It's squishier, and if you kill it, it does big damage to the Ermite and puts him in a vulnerable state. Ideally you hit both, but if you can't, the crocodile comes first. Now, to the final enemy, the scariest of everything. Tulpa. This 33.66 million HP fiend moves around a lot and can kill you with a lot of ease. But, thankfully for you, and for me, we have a free character that turns him into a complete joke. You guessed it, it's Shangling, baby. It's time for Shangling. The reason Shangling turns this Hydro Fiend into a Hydro Baby Slime is because of a lot of stuff, first of all. With one of them being ICD, and Double Hit, and Overvape. I will explain all of them now. ICD means internal cooldown, which is a 2.5 second cooldown by baseline on elemental reactions. Do not spam them and do tons of damage. Shangling completely throws that out of the window because she has no ICD, meaning she can spam vaporize reactions all she wants. And Tulpa has a Hydro Permanent Aura, meaning you already know what that means, meaning you can always hit Vape on it. Along with that, Shangling's Burst has a special double hit mechanic if the enemy's hitbox is big enough and it hits them twice, which is exactly what Tulpa has. Basically, Shangling is known as a beast that does a lot of freaking damage, but guess what? The damage gets more than doubled against Tulpa specifically. And one more thing, because if you listen to my advice and use Fischl gives him also a permanent Electro Aura usually. And that means Shangling will hit both Vape and Overload at the same time, turning him into a complete joke. If you didn't understand anything I just said, in simple terms, Shangling comes to Tulpa's nightmares every night. TLDR used Shangling in Fischl Core with Bennett, and then literally any flex slot, and you'll basically destroy the Tulpa. The 3.66 million HP will feel like 500k with that team. So yeah, just chase it around as it desperately runs away and you'll be fine. Shangling's Burst follows your character and Fischl's Oz can be resummoned. In conclusion, this abyss is a little hard but can be turned into a total joke if you use Hyperbloom topside and Shangling Fischl Core on the bottom side, both of which being very budget friendly teams. If the Dendro resistance is an issue, you can always use other teams to compensate, as the run doesn't have to be in one go. And 2 runs can give you the full rewards just fine. And with that, I explained strategies and teams on how to completely crush this new abyss despite the highest DPS requirements and restrictions. If you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe. I am a small content creator. I appreciate any of your support. Have a good day or night wherever you are, and goodbye.